everybody. Today I'm going to finish up my series on computer science across the curriculum with talking about computer science unplugged. My name is Holly Graffam, and I am an MLTI ambassador for the Maine Department of Education through the MLTI program. I've given you my contact information here and a link to my YouTube uh, playlist, PD playlist. This has my playlist and the playlist of other ambassadors. There will be a PDF in the description of this video that you'll be able to click on, and you'll have access to these links and any other links that I present throughout this slide deck. So what is CS Unplugged? So the unplugged approach was originally created to allow learners to access computing concepts without using a computer. This had benefits in making lessons engaging and accessible to a variety of learners. It also helped demonstrate that computer science is not just about computers, but exploring the fundamental concepts of computer science. So in other words, these activities will not have you using a computer. That would be the unplugged part, but they really are connected to fundamental computer science concepts, principles, or computational thinking. So the first resource that I'd like to share with you, and I've shared this resource in previous videos, but I wanted to also point out that CS First has an unplugged a group of lessons that they have. And I really liked this resource because the lessons are a variety of different computer science concepts, plus a mix of career connections. They're 45 minutes to 90 minutes each. You can select which ones you want. And I really do like the way CS First has laid out their lessons and provided teachers with step-by-step instructions and resources. So this would be the first one that I would check out. Code.org, which typically we think of really is about programming, and they have a whole online computer science curriculum for grades K through up through AP computer science. But they do have, with each of their courses, they also have, particularly in their fundamentals curriculum and many of their other courses, they'll have some unplugged activities. These are two that I thought were pretty interesting and I would recommend. They say that they're for fifth graders ish, but I really feel like these are depending on the level of computer science knowledge your students are, or it's just another way of looking at and maybe solidifying some of these concepts. So I think they're easily adaptable to older students. And the first one, the Course E Lesson 17, Designing for Accessibility, really is kind of looking at that universal design concept and how, so it looks at different applications and how people with various challenges or disabilities might, have difficulty interacting with a particular app, and having them think about how might they design that app based on underserved users. So I think that's a great conversation to have, and they can really get creative and think about how they might design some apps. Theoretically, they would, draw them out and all of that. They wouldn't actually go in and use the app inventor at this time. In course F, which is the next level of course, in lesson 6, it's called Blank Space Stories. And this is really kind of a play on Mad Libs, but using that idea that students are very familiar with to talk about how computer programs use the term variables and how they take data in based on these with these different variables, sort it, collect it, and use it later on. So again, if it's a great concept, students love the Mad Libs thing, and so it kind of my deepening their understanding around variables. And there are others that you can explore. These are just two that I am recommending. So, but do know that code.org does have some unplugged activities. Now, the kind of granddaddy of them all is CS Unplugged, and I've actually linked the classic website. This is kind of the original place to go to get unplugged activities. Uh, and it offers a pretty big list of them. But here I kind of looked through the list, and these were the ones that I thought would be the most engaging for students. But certainly feel free to go through the list and choose different or more or fewer activities than the ones I've recommended here. But the ones that I thought were pretty outstanding, and I've kind of organized them by different topics. So they have some great ones on data that talks about binary numbers, um, image representation, which is again kind of um, a play on binary, and information theory. And under algorithms, they have searching algorithms, sorting algorithms. So these are kind of how computers use data. So they have these databases, and how they use searching and sorting algorithms and minimal spanning trees, and to help find information. And then the last one is cryptography, and that's about information hiding, and so how encryption is software is a really big topic right now, and this kind of leads a little bit into that. Go back. Exploring computer science. And so exploring computer science is in of itself a whole computer science curriculum. It is a little different than many of the curriculums that you find online. The first two chapters are almost exclusively about unplugged or offline activities. But one of the fundamental principles of this curriculum is that technology is a tool for problem solving. And Unit 2 of the curriculum is devoted to problem solving. And we've really talked about computational thinking and those solving skills being the fundamentals of computer science, and exploring computer science curriculum really leans into that. And so a couple of the activities, this is a pretty dense PDF. But a couple of the activities that you could do that are pretty engaging and that students would like, I believe, is the candy bar activity and the handshake activity. And this is kind of really is some different sorting activities. And so I've given you the page numbers here, and I've linked in a PDF to the curriculum guide. And finally, some computational thinking activities. I came across this hexaflexagon, and I can't really explain it in words other than it is a long linear um, piece of paper that's in that you fold up in different triangles, and you come out with a hexagon. And there's some different activities. It's about concept mapping and things like that. It's really it's got a lot of great thinking and problem solving in there. And so I would give that one a whirl. I mean, think about taking your cootie catcher type of thing and putting that on steroids, and that would be your hexaflexagon. Um, but that was really interesting. The next one is the Caesar Cipher, and this is more cryptology. This was an hour of code activity that talks about using a classic cipher to decrypt and encrypt messages. So I think students would like that. And that is a pretty quick one that's designed to be about an hour long. The hexaplexagon, that would be something that you might work on over a course of different times, classroom times. And then the pixel puzzle pictures and computational thinking is about solve simple color by number and logical thinking puzzles. And it's really getting into the idea of image representation and compression in how computer programs do that in order for us to see the images that we see on the computer. So I find that these are some really good, again, don't need a computer for any of these, but they really are getting at the computational thinking and computer science concepts. And I just to reiterate, because I think it was a couple videos ago that I talked about uh, computational thinking and how you can start to bring computer science across the curriculum with computational thinking, and how it's deeply embedded in just about every subject that we teach. Remember, I suggested, connecting vocabulary words. That is certainly unplugged activity. And any of the uh, other problem solving skills that you're going to use the principles of computational thinking, decomposition, um, pattern recognition, abstraction, and algorithm thinking. Anytime you're doing any of those are, for the most part, probably going to be unplugged. And even if they are computers, even if you're using a computer, you're not really using necessarily a computer science program or curriculum. So maybe unplugged adjacent. Uh, any of those activities are really going to help students start thinking about computer science. Again, it's all about, and even with these unplugged activities, is about being explicit in our connections with computer science and how it is used in our everyday lives, and how it is a problem solving tool. Computers use computer science to solve problems. So just being more explicit about those connections across any of our curriculums that we do. So thank you again. This was one of the quicker videos that I've done, but you can still get zero point 0.5 contact hours. And again, this uh, this slide deck will be a PDF linked underneath in the description of the video, and you'll be able to go and get zero point 0.5 contact hours and get access to any of the links that I have included in this slide deck. So thank you, and thank you for going through this series with me, and I hope that you find ways to include computer science in your classroom, regardless of what content area you are teaching. Have a great day.